Hello, welcome to episode 89 of Draft Offsides. I'm with Tico Denzo. My name is Keith, and we're talking game week 37. It's
Nearly
near
over.
the end. We got one game week left.
It's been a dramatic season.
Most leagues are probably close to wrapped up, but I know for us, there's still some battles to be had. I'm on track to potentially miss out on second place, but I know Enzo's still battling for second in one of our leagues. I think there's Tico, there's things here and there, so we're all still invested in some way or the other. Anything to say for yourselves, guys?
It's been a good season.
I think all we can do now is just kind of look at game week 37, and then kind of, if anyone needs, we have some waiver options for people if they need them, and then just kind of as we're looking through the game weeks, we should probably start talking about draft and next year, and we're kind of starting to look ahead, huh?
Mm-hmm.
All right, so let's start. Game one that we're going to review was that game today, Brighton 3, Liverpool 2. Kind of a pretty exciting game. A lot of back and forth. A lot of both. You can tell it's a good game when both keepers have high-scoring games.
Yeah.
Elliott, 29.25 points. He got a goal and an assist? No. Did he? He had a goal and assist? Nice. 26% owned. Gruda on Brighton, 23 points, had an assist, 2% owned. He played in the 10, which is kind of nice because he was getting a lot of touches on the ball. He had some really good shots too. He definitely could have scored. Welbeck, 21 points. He technically had like a fantasy assist where he shot and then Allison parried it away and then Matoma hit it in. Estupiñán, 16.5 points, all ghost points. Nice. Allison, 16.25 points. So Allison had a lot was really busy.
Yeah, I was going to say, he kept him busy, man. And even with letting in 3 goals, he still scored 16.25. So with those other 2 goals, he would have had 20 points plus the clean sheet. Would have had an amazing game.
Yeah, I mean, even 16.25 is pretty darn good. I think with Brighton, I'm actually, the last game of the season, it's looking like it's actually going to matter for me. So I'm kind of looking at stuff, and I think that they're playing United. They either play United or Tottenham. One of the two.
Can't remember.
They play Tottenham. They played Tottenham in the last game of the season. And I think that just Tottenham coming off the Europa final, it's not like they've been great anyways, but coming off the Europa final, I feel like there's just not going to be much there for them, win or lose, of that final. So I'm actually super interested in like the Grudas and the Welbecks and the Stupiñáns.
Are they still fine for something? Are they
kind of
conference?
Yes, but the things that need to happen for them for 8th to matter is like crazy. Like Chelsea needs to get 5th or 7th and then win this, and there's just like all these things. But technically, yes.
But there's a chance.
There's
one of those. Yeah, mathematically they're not eliminated, but it's essentially a foregone conclusion.
Yeah, but but I think they're still going to play it really hard.
Yeah,
So it's not like it's a rubber. It's a dead rubber match, All right, next game: Chelsea 1, United 0. Cucurella got the all-important goal here. Reece James had a really nice little turn and a little pirouette, little ballerina move to lose Garnacho and then cross the ball in for him. Other than that, it was a pretty just kind of ugly game.
Yeah, just kind of just passing the ball around.
But you kind of have to remember that United makes it pretty hard on good teams. They've
been playing well defensively. They don't really let in too many goals.
Yeah, they don't. And they just make it really difficult, not fun to be a part of.
So I'm not looking forward to Wednesday.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting to see what happens. So Reece James had a good game. Cole Palmer did not have a good game. Obviously, Jackson's out. Neto didn't have a good game. Tyreek George started up top. He was pretty non-existent. Madueke, nothing to write home about. So, yeah, a little bit. I think Chelsea, you don't love that the last game. You love that the last game means something from a points perspective, but you don't love that it's against Forest.
No.
Where it means something to them, too.
But we got to think of all the stuff that's going on in the background too, like especially with a couple of these teams from the first 2 games we spoke about. Like, is Chelsea going to be the same team, or are they going to improve next year? Like, they've had ups and downs this season. Like, is Palmer going to bounce back from this season? It was still, in my opinion, a pretty decent season. But is he going to be the same player he was 2 years ago, or is he just going to be steady? Is Neto going to be playing more consistently after Sancho goes back to United?
If he goes back to United,
are they going to pay $5 million to send him back, or are they going to pay $25 million to keep him?
Yep. Yeah, a lot of questions.
It is pretty crazy the way we talk about Cole Palmer. It's like he's having a shitty year, but he's still ranked 3rd overall. Number 1 midfielder. Yeah.
I'm not saying he had I'm just saying at the back end. So most of that was at the beginning. Like, was a 55-point game he had at the beginning of the season where he was on fire. It's just, I think Keith said it before, we saw judge players on the back end of the season, how they finish it.
It's easier to, But I also think Cole Palmer, when you look at it too, it's like as Maresca has gotten more of his style into the team, Cole Palmer's looked worse.
Yeah.
Like for lack of a better way to talk, so that's a little concerning.
And you got to think too, if they get into Europa, which is another level than conference, is he going to do the same thing he did this season in conference, or is he actually going to he's probably going to put out a team?
No, he has to put out a team.
He's going to have to put out more. He's going to have to put out better teams for sure. Yeah. But like Palmer barely played in conference league.
But that's what I'm saying, because he had that's what I'm saying, he had the rest, but when it comes to next season, are they going to be like Aston Villa, Newcastle, that sort of slumped?
Was Chelsea not in any European competition last year?
Not last year, no.
Not even Europa?
Nope. They're nothing. Because United won the
FA Cup.
Okay.
Yeah. Oh no, that was last year, but whatever. It doesn't matter. But Chelsea's an interesting one. But I also think you can say the same thing about United. I think both of these teams are going to see a decent amount of turnover.
Cunha, man. If he goes.
Seems like that's very likely. It sounds like they're also still in for a striker too. So then Cunha plays, but then to me that those positions kind of become a headache because there's Mount, Anarim seems to like, Diallo's there, Cunha's there, Bruno Fernandes is there, but maybe he plays further back, which you don't love. Like if all of a sudden he's playing in the 6, I don't love Bruno as like the number 2 anymore. But I think he's maybe like the 4.
Well, I was going to say, there's even rumors about them trying to sell off Bruno.
I saw that too, but I just can't imagine.
You can't imagine, but if they're going to get some money, they're in a little bit of financial trouble, and you're going to get Cunha, and then you're going to pick up a striker. Are you going to play Fernandes and Cunha in that number 10 role, sitting behind the striker, and play Diallo as a wing back when you've got Dorgu?
I mean, it's kind of a mess. For sure, it's a mess. But I think with Fernandes, that you can play him deeper, and then he can be like an outlet. So,
but I think their best players are on the younger side of it. They're all younger than Bruno Fernandes, who's 30 already. He's
29, right?
No, he's 30. He's going to be 31 this year. So this is probably his peak. You're going to get the maximum value of him if you're rebuilding. Having Bruno, it's not really going to help you in the next couple of years.
No. But again, we've talked about this before, that 30 isn't old. 31 isn't old. Not in football, not anymore.
Especially
for as old as it used to be.
Especially for someone on his playing style. But I feel like United are not going to compete during his remaining prime, which, let's say, even if it's being generous 4 years, I don't see United competing for the title in the next 4 years.
I think it's a good point. I think the concern is that they've been so bad for so long, and Fernandes has been the only one that's been able to like pull them out of it. So the thought of just like being like, okay, I think we're good now. We don't need you. And like even the only thing that's like keeping him in feels like just like that could be a very, very bad decision from them.
Yeah, I agree.
But so there'll definitely be a lot of turnover both them and Chelsea. We'll have to see what that looks like. But it sounds like Chelsea might be in for another left winger if Sancho doesn't come. It sounds like they're definitely going to be in for a striker too. So we could see some big names come through. Yeah. All right, Everton 2, Southampton 0. When you look at this Everton team, there's actually quite a few good players that like for next year it could be fun. Like Ndai, he got 26 points, he got 2 goals. He looks pretty good. He's looked pretty good like the whole second half of the season. Brett McNeil's back, looks solid. I like even though he didn't start, Ndidi's good. Wait, no, he's on Leicester, isn't he?
Oh no, he's on Leicester. Yeah. Sorry,
but Alcaraz actually has a really good points per start ratio, and then there's a bunch of pretty fun attacking players.
Well, they're going to be fun to watch next season. I said it. They're going to be around that top 10 sort of area, and if Moyes gets a nice little run going, they could try to go for Europe.
Well, Beto as well. You would think Beto's probably going to be day 1 starter for next year, so it's going to have a lot more fantasy value.
Yeah, and I think with the service around him, like even so, last game he didn't score, but he still managed like 9 points for a striker. You're not mad about that, like a 9-point goalless, no ghost point game for a striker.
You know what we're forgetting?
Who?
The new stadium curse.
It's a curse? You think?
Yeah. Look at Arsenal got the Emirates, and they had a really bad couple of seasons, and then Tottenham got Tottenham way, and we carried on being bad.
But I thought you guys had a few good years after that.
A few good years. So we did. That was like
you didn't win, but you were getting to those, like you're getting.
Maybe
there.
That's just a London thing.
Maybe.
Other noteworthy things was Minkolenko scoring 19.25 points. Solid game from him. Obviously, all the Everton defenders. It was really. Would you see the thing where like Seamus Coleman started, and so Ashley Young didn't start, but then they subbed Coleman out after like 20 minutes?
No, I didn't see that.
And then Ashley Young finished the game and got the clean sheet because he played for more than 60 minutes.
Damn.
So that's from a fantasy perspective, that was fucked up.
How fucking old is Seamus Coleman?
I mean, they did that just. I think it was the last game.
The last game. Got it.
And do that. Yeah.
And did you notice that all your former players had a good week?
Yes,
Young Welbeck. That's actually the first thing I noticed. I'm like, yeah, Enzo's team is making a comeback.
And Jimenez, who I traded away.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. Southampton. I don't think there's anything to speak to there.
No, they're done.
Yeah.
But do you think Diblin? Is it Diblin? You think he comes? You think he stays up? You think someone picks him up?
I don't know if he's done enough for someone to pick him up.
You think so? I think he's.
I feel like he'd probably rather. I think he's also young enough. He'd rather start every game in the championship than like be like the fourth string winger for like a middle tier Premier League.
Well, you got to think too about all these players that are rumored to go. Like, could he take one of their places? Like, Eze might be leaving. Morgan Gibbs White. Here's a rumor to City. There's a bunch of rumors going about right now. It's that time of the season.
Yep. I mean, I don't know if Dibling's done enough for me to show that he can be that guy.
Okay.
Personally.
No, I hear you.
Yeah. Next game, Villa 2, Spurs 0. Spurs actually, I felt like had a good account of themselves for the first like 15 minutes of this, and second the goal went in, they kind of just were like, they just gave up.
Dude, did you see the lineup? Son started, he got minus 0.25. Fucking hard. The team that we put out, it just shows that we don't get wrong, putting our eggs in one basket, and we're looking for the Europa, but we've got so many injuries.
It was your B team.
Oh yeah, it was worse my B team. We talking about worse.
Yeah. Well, Son started. I think he'll probably play in the final, right?
You think he would, but like he didn't really do much. I think he might be done.
He still had a pretty good year.
No, he's had a good year. I'm talking about as in Tottenham.
In Tottenham.
I think he's done. I think he might go somewhere.
You think
I heard Barcelona. I heard something crazy like Barcelona. You know how they like to buy old players that are good.
I don't think they can afford him.
Maybe.
You think otherwise?
I think Barcelona and Real Madrid can get away with whatever they want for the most part.
I think there's no way, personally.
We'll see.
In my humble opinion.
Don't get me wrong. I hope not. I'd like to keep Son, but we see.
What else happened in this game?
Konza scored 24.75. Did what's his name? Watkins. He didn't. Did he start? No, he didn't.
He started.
He started. He started. And he got an assist. He did. He got an assist. Did he get an assist?
He had a goal or an assist.
He had an assist.
He had an assist. Yeah.
He had an assist.
Yeah, because I think it was his little flick on for the Konza goal. Morgan Rogers had a solid game, 15 points. Boubacar Kamara got the other goal, so he had 15 points.
What a goal too, man!
First goal in the Premier League for him.
Yep.
So I wouldn't take that too much. Ian Maatsen had a solid game. Tico, did you start him?
I did. I picked him up and I started him.
I did the exact same thing in our other league. So that's solid. And Sensio finished with 11 points. Didn't get any goals, but he had a lot of like shots on target and stuff.
A lot of shots on target. Yeah.
It'll be interesting to see if do you think he signs with Villa next year, Asensio?
I don't know. It all depends on what they can do. Him. No, but it all depends on the price, and it all depends on what Villa does with whatever they have left. I think it might depend on Champions. Are they? Because they're not guaranteed Champions League at the moment.
No, definitely not. They need a win and then hope that Chelsea or Forest, they need a win and then,
Well, they have a lot of decisions to make. Rashford's an option for them, Asensio, and then Ollie Watkins from, it's rumor season, but he might be on his way out too.
So if I'm Ollie Watkins, I look at this season and I'm like, man, Duran was here and all of a sudden I wasn't getting the starts as much as I wanted. And all of a sudden Rashford shows up and all of a sudden I'm not getting starts anymore. But I'm fucking good. Every time I come in and I'm scoring goals, I know I'm good enough. I would be open to leaving if I was Ollie Watkins.
Where would you go? Would you stay in the Prem?
Yeah, I'd go to Arsenal.
Arsenal
seems like such an obvious fit.
I'd hate it.
Yeah,
I'd absolutely hate it, but I think it could work.
It would work so well.
Yeah,
it would because for that team. He's also one of those playmaking strikers where he's willing to pass the ball.
He can drop back. He can kind of get other players involved. I think it would be an amazing fit if Arsenal can afford it.
Yeah, because they're not going to get Isak. They're out of their fucking mind.
No, that's stupid.
Isak.
But which one do you guys think will be better fit for Arsenal? Isak or
Watkins?
Watkins.
I honestly think Watkins would probably be a better fit.
I like Isak better at Arsenal, to be perfectly honest. Because he'll just score goals, which is what they need. They need someone that can just score goals. Watkins doesn't just score automatically. Yeah, he sets up, but I think they've got enough creative players to do that. Whereas Isak is the guy that, okay, let's just put the ball in and he's going to bang it in. The only problem is he wants to take penalties, and I think is Saka their penalty taker? So
Saka.
That'll be the only issue I could see.
I'll tell you this much, which either of those guys would be a significant upgrade.
Mm-hmm.
So
hope it doesn't happen.
Yeah. There's a bunch of names floating around. It's gonna be a fun offseason to kind of follow this. It's like following all the gossip.
Yeah, it's the best time.
Next game, Brentford 2, Fulham 3. Bit of a shocker here. Yeah, they came from 2-1 down to win it.
Yeah, freaking Fulham mugging the poor now.
Well, Brentford were kind of in the upper middle class designation.
But at home this season they're poor. They're very poor.
Well, they've switched. They were really good at home at the beginning of the season. They were bad later in the season. So, yeah, they're a little Jekyll and Hyde. Mm-hmm. But Adama Traore, 23 points with 2 assists, 46% owned.
Too wild.
That's a good one.
Too wild.
Wissa, 18.5 points, got a goal. Mm-hmm. And Mbeumo missed a penalty kick this game. That's kind of dramatic.
He still scored, though.
He did still score, but the missing of the penalty kick might have cost him the game.
Yep.
Raul Jimenez, 18 points, goal.
Yep.
He does had a strong end of the season. Do you think he's got another year in him?
I was about to say the same thing. And where do you think he goes? Is he like a 6th round, 7th round forward?
Yeah, later. He's later. Just because he's older. Yeah. And Munoz is there kind of chomping at the bit.
Yep.
And I think there's value there. But I think like Jimenez, who does Fulham play last game of the season? Let me look. Oh, they play City last game of the season.
Ooh. But the thing is, it's not like last season where I'm like, oh, City's going to fucking destroy them. I don't know what City's going to show up. I have no idea what team's going to show up.
Totally. Like, I'm not convinced that they're going to beat Bournemouth tomorrow. I could, this is going to come out after, so I could sound like an idiot. But, I very much, feel like that could be a very tight game. Because Bournemouth is still, in the same way that who were we just talking about? Brighton is playing for like a maybe of a spot in Europe or an 8th place finish. They're doing the exact same thing. Bournemouth is.
Man City just lost to Palace in the final.
Yeah,
that is nuts.
It was a fun game to watch. Oof. It was it wasn't fun in the sense the game was fun, but it was just fun to watch a team like that upset. Win. And the goal was really good. It was an amazing counterattacking goal. Yeah. Mateta looked so strong in that goal. Yeah. And just the way he held up the ball and then dished it off. Munoz is unreal. I think Munoz is I was looking at a lot of stats this weekend, and I was he's probably going in the second round. Munoz.
Say that again?
I think Munoz is probably going in the second round.
You think so?
Well, look at his overall points. Overall. Hold on. Do you have it up, Tico? Sorry.
I'm trying to pull it up right now.
Overall, Munoz is ranked 7th in total points.
Really?
Yeah.
12.7 points per game. And also, it's not really a fluke. Last year, he played only 16 games, and he averaged 11.3.
Yes. So that's exactly. And Anthony Robinson's the next best, and he's 40 points below him.
And he had a bad slump.
And Trent is the next best after that, and he's
gone.
He's going to be gone. So I think when it comes to your power defenders, he's going to be up there. It'll be interesting with Frimpong coming to Liverpool. Well, where is he gonna?
He's a high flying wingback,
and he's going to be classified as a defender. But I could also see him playing up top sometimes too.
Yeah, but why would they do that when they need a right back? It's only him and Connor Bradley. That's why.
Salah's going to be next year. Salah's going to be gone for AFCON again for a few months.
Oh, that's right, for a month.
And so I can see Frimpong. It's a month. But I can see Frimpong getting some playing time up there.
You think that affects Salah? That shouldn't affect Salah's draft position.
Well, maybe a little bit. It's definitely a factor, right? Yeah. What was it 2 years ago when Salah came back from? And then he just had a bad end of the season. After that.
A bad end of the season.
But wait, I felt like that was only 2 years ago.
That was 2 years ago.
How is that possible? That AFCON is AFCON every 2 years?
I'm assuming so now.
That's weird. I don't know. I don't know anything about that. But okay, should we move on?
Yeah.
Last game, Leicester 2, Ipswich 0. The only thing that's really the highlight here was the Jamie Vardy scoring a goal, his 200th goal and his 500th appearance, which will be his last for the club.
Wow.
At the Leicester Stadium, at the King Power Stadium. Amazing.
Fucking legend.
Amazing goal, amazing celebrations where he ran to the corner flag and lifted it up.
Mm-hmm.
Like, there's your statue, just make that man a statue right now.
Yeah, he's won you an FA Cup, 2 promotions, and a fucking league.
Yeah, the Premier League. Yeah. Unreal.
It's a
Unreal player.
It's a better career than Harry Kane.
Unreal player. Definitely one for the history books.
Yeah.
Definitely like someone who will always be remembered by any true soccer fan.
Never left.
Never left. Stuck around.
Yeah. He also just got his career started really late in life.
Yeah, but he had opportunities. He could have went to Arsenal. Arsenal wanted him. He said no.
Love that about him.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. AFCON is every 2 years, by the way.
AFCON is every 2 years.
Yeah. Would you say AFCON?
AFCON.
AFCONs. That is weird. That's every 2 years. But like all the Euros are every 4 years, right?
Yeah. You got to think about the players. You got Iwobi for Nigeria. He won't be there. So Salah, obviously. There's a few good African players.
There's a lot of good African players. I mean, obviously Kudus, Mamouche. If Kudus stays, I'm hearing rumors about Atletico Madrid for Kudus.
Really?
Yeah.
Really? He'll do good in Spain.
Yeah, I think so too.
I think Doku will do better in Spain too, but I'll be honest. I know he is an African, but I always, but I know I keep doing that. Like he plays a Cameroon or something. He looks like a Cameroon player.
What are you saying?
For Belgium.
I know he does. It took me a while.
All right. Let's just talk some loose ends for the week. Raya, 21.5 points in that game versus who'd they play?
No, they played Newcastle.
Newcastle. That was a pretty big game. I mean, we probably should have talked about that game a little bit. So Declan Rice scored a good goal. I think it was his 4th league goal of the seain. It feels like he's had more just because of the Champions League goals, huh?
Yeah. Honestly, he's had a good season too. He's keeping to the standard. I don't think he's been as good as last season. I think he scored more last season. But I think he created more because he had corners this year.
I mean,
he had corners last year too.
Some of last year, not as much, not as consistently. So his fantasy points per game is 9.3. I don't have his points per startup, but I can pull it up. But I think the other thing that's interesting with him is just the he's ranking 19th overall, or no, 48th overall, 19th mid. So, but I think what ends up happening because he's such a big name is you'll see him go before that in drafts. Like you'll see him go in like the 3rd round when he shouldn't. I think like his value always tends to be slightly higher just because he's such a big name and everything. You know what I'm saying?
No, I hear you.
I was thinking, would you guys rather have Odegaard at the 2nd round or Rice on the 4th round?
Rice in the 4th or Odegaard in the 2nd? I don't know.
Rice in the 4th.
I don't like either of those.
But you're saying what I prefer. I think you get more value from Rice in the 4th than you would Odegaard from the 2nd.
I don't know. I don't know. I abstain from answering that question.
Played the 5th.
I mean, he's ranked 48 overall, and there's a bunch of people ahead of him that are
in the 4th.
Leave, so yeah,
48.
So 5th. He's ranked for the 5th round as of this year. Yeah,
I just don't see him scoring that many more goals this year. I don't see him I don't see him having like a better year than this.
We said this last season.
But Keith, he scored more goals last season. Last season he scored 7, and this year he scored 4.
But where did he finish last season? What was his final ranking last season?
All right, let's pull it up.
He's like, all right, we're gonna do this.
What a random question that all right, let's see. Rice was ranked 15th in total points, but that doesn't include all the players that left.
But like the players showed up too. Like I don't think you can say that doesn't include players that have left. Like I don't.
So last year he was ranked in total points 15th.
So that, I mean, to me that was probably the ceiling for him.
Yeah, well, maybe not the ceiling. I think it was the first season of the club, and he really pushed.
And for points per game, he ranked 35th. So
and he missed a few games this season due to suspensions, and then he had to play the 6 a couple of times with Pai not being injured or suspended. So I think that hurt him also.
To me, I think a lot of the Arsenal players for next year has to do also with who they get as a striker.
Yeah, agreed.
Partey is someone who's going to be leaving for the African Cup as well.
That's true.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't love it. But okay, moving on. Belenkovic, 18.75 points. He had a goal, nice little goal right off the back. Didn't know much about it.
You think Everton defenders are going to be highly valued next season? I know they had a great start, and honestly, if you look, could you look at all the Everton defenders and see where
Everton
they play?
defenders.
So Tarkowski we know is pretty high up, even though now he's injured for the rest of the season. Milenkovic, I would say combine Young and what's his name? Booth? What's his name? O'Brien. And
Booth?
and then the left back, and see like where they all stand. I'm pretty sure they're pretty high up in defender wise.
Do you realize what you're asking for?
Yeah, I think
the difficulty of that.
All right, Keith, you take Tarkowski and Booth. Tico, you take Milenko and the left back.
Thank you for making your demand so much easier for us. You're such a kind leader.
Thank you. I'm not the leader. Keith's the leader. Thanks.
Tarkowski's ranked 28 overall. Let's see.
That was Keith's job.
Mykolenko is ranked 83rd overall.
Okay.
Jared Brantwaite is ranked 142nd. Do you want me to keep going? Because
no, you're good. But it's actually not that bad if you really think about it, for defenders.
It's Tarkowski and Mykolenko. Those two for sure I would target, because that's 2 years in a row they've been having good years. And whoever plays at their right back, I know Ashley Yank's probably going to start the year again. And then
no, I don't think he's going to start. It won't be O'Brien.
I think it's O'Brien.
Don't doubt that guy.
And then O'Brien, I think like he will go deep, like in the draft, and he might be a diamond in the rough.
But I think with Tarkowski and Mykolenkovic, there's more like solidity. Like O'Brien, you just don't know, you know. And Brantwaite is what, injured? He's gonna be injured beginning. Brantwaite was injured at the beginning of the season.
Yeah.
So.
The defender I picked up, Nathan Patterson, he played right back, so that might be someone else for next year.
So we see in the chat that someone said Rice is the second best player for Arsenal. So who's the first best? Saka,
obviously.
Saka, and then there's a hashtag odegaardout.
Yeah, that's a little harsh.
I know.
One bad season.
That's what I'm thinking.
One bad season after he had an injury.
It's not even a bad season.
One not a bad season.
Yeah. It's not It's only he had a good season. It's just because he was based off of where he was being drafted.
Well, look, if they get what's his name,
he had a bad season for his standards. It's not just about where he's being drafted.
9.6, 9.7 points.
Is that that's what he's averaging?
I think he's right around there.
Arsenal's trying to pick up, was it Otamendi, right? So then they'll have Odegaard, Marino, and Otamendi who all play for Atletico Bilbao together.
That's funny.
So that might be interesting to see if that chemistry sort of work.
We'll see. I mean, some of their moves in the last few years have been a little head scratchy to me. So, but Odegaard had a good game though this week. Speaking of him, 16.75 points and an assist. Another one, QER, 17.75 points. Pretty solid. I think Arsenal plays Southampton on the last day of the season too. So I think targeting those defenders.
They got to spank them because they want to try to they got to finish the season strong.
Yeah,
and get that second spot.
Neco Williams, is that the guy from Brentford, or is that the?
No, not in Forest.
Is that Nico or is it Neco?
Yeah, it's Neco. It's how it's spelled.
Yeah. So he had a solid game too, 16.75 points. 10 of the top 20 points are from defenders, goalkeepers so far this week. Mids 5 for 5.
Yeah.
That's interesting.
That is interesting.
That's what I'm saying.
I feel like this, even though it was a minor adjustment, that adjustment where you don't get the -2 for the goal, it's made a huge difference in just balancing out defenders in a way that I think is positive. Because you can't you can look at those players and really use them. It's not just like this throwaway position like it has been.
Yeah, it's definitely better than last season. They were definitely more viable. Yeah. Even goalkeepers, perfectly honest.
Yeah, helps them a lot too.
The one thing I would like to see, but this is like an impossible change probably in the algorithm, is if it's an own goal, the rest of the defenders don't get negative points. It doesn't count against them.
I just fundamentally disagree with that. Even if that was possible.
Too. Really?
Yeah.
I think any sort of conceding when you're on the field, you're responsible for it.
If the right back is standing on the corner by himself and Harry Maguire scores a banger of an own goal, how's that his fault?
You know what it sounds like, Keith? You know what it sounds like, Keith?
Harry Maguire.
Look, Keith, it's just a Tico rule.
He likes to make Tico rule.
Next season, Sergey, just make sure to add in all the Tico rules that he adds as the season goes on.
He busted, yeah. That's exactly what it is. I think I got screwed over a couple of times this year, and then.
Oh, you got screwed over, did you?
Twice.
Fucking full of shit, you are. So full of shit.
All right, should we get into waivers?
Let's see it, mate.
All right, number one waiver of the week for me is not number one waiver. Actually, I think it's very circumstantial. But I think Ezri Konsa is pretty high up there. 28% owned defender. He's had a solid season. Like it's like he hasn't been bad. I'm actually surprised he's so low owned. I think a lot of it had to do with the fact that at the beginning of the season, Villa was kind of struggling defensively to like keep clean sheets and stuff, and it seems like they've kind of righted that ship a little bit. I think part of that has to do with the fact that they're not playing every week, so they're actually able to, like train and practice and not be exhausted. And with that comes like Ezri Konsa's been looking a lot better. He obviously got a goal last week, so there's gonna be a lot more interest in him.
Yeah, it's not gonna happen every week though, but he can get clean sheets. You're right.
Yeah, and I think the other thing to shout out is that they play United in the last game of the season, and United does not score many goals at all.
They've been the 5th worst team this season.
Yes, and also, but I think from an attacking standpoint, they're probably even lower.
That's so bad.
Like they're probably like the 4th worst. I don't know. They're really bad, United, from an attacking standpoint, and also it's going to be coming off the Europa final. So who knows? I think for this week you're targeting these like dead rubber matches.
Only the relegated teams and Everton have scored more goals, less goals than United.
Yep.
42.
Yep, that's what I thought.
Barely over a goal a game.
Yep.
Crazy for a Man United. That's nuts.
Next to it's like a double. It's Simon Adingra, mid 37% owned, and then Brahan Gruda, mid 2% owned. For Adingra, I think he's had a solid last few outings. It hasn't really showed in the points box in the sense that he's had these massive scores, but he's had like 7, 8, 9 ghost point score games. And I think he's looked better than the scores are reflected. So I think that there's if he does start, I think there's promise there, especially with Tottenham next week.
Yeah.
And then Gruda, no, it's true. I mean, sorry.
No, I'm saying I agree with you completely. He's fucking horrendous.
And then Gruda, he had a really nice assist against Liverpool for the first goal. He seems to play in the 10 role. So if anything, I'm probably more interested in that because he's just probably going to get even more touches.
Because it's the end of the season.
Yeah, and so I think you can look at both of them and be interested. And I think there's other players on Brighton you can look at, but I think you're targeting this game as just like a good one for Brighton who are still trying to play for something.
This next one, you're a real arsehole, Keith.
No, if you read what I said, it's the next one is Kai Havertz.
No, it's a fucking you're such a trap, bro. You're the trap.
No, did you read what I wrote?
No, I read what you wrote. You're still a trap. You're trying to trap our listeners.
He's like just over 50-ish. He's a big name player back, and it's tempting, but I think this is a trap.
You're the trap.
I think this is a trap. I'm the trap.
Yeah, you're the one setting it.
I just doubt he plays a full half, and even if he does get minutes, which would be like to me really stupid in a dead rubber game coming off a major injury, I think he probably needs more time to get acclimated. So I think like this is almost like a do not waiver him or do not if you really need it. I don't think this is the thing for you.
Yeah,
So I think why is this a bad thing? I feel like I'm like doing a public service by saying
you've mentioned it so that people can think about it and pick him up.
Well, people are probably already thinking about it. I just feel like this is like he's such a big name that you see. That's like one of the first names that pops up when you look at players and you see he's available and you saw that he played minutes this week.
Yeah,
but I don't know. I think it's problematic from a I think it could sink you if you're really desperate.
You're a bad trap. Yeah, bad trap. Got it.
Tempting. All right, next one. Harvey Elliott, mid 26% owned. Solid game against Brighton.
We spoke about him before.
Yeah, it seems like Slot's resting a few players each game. So just depending on how that shuffles out for the last game, he could see a start. I also it's not guaranteed though, so you definitely should have a backup plan.
My guess for Liverpool is their last game is in Anfield. I think they would get their starting 11 just so everyone kind of gets the fan appreciation because McAllister didn't play at all. Diaz didn't play, so Trent obviously didn't start. So I think they would put their starting 11 and then take off Mo Salah so they get the cheer. Same thing with probably Trent. Hopefully they don't boo him.
There'll be some people that boo him.
Legend. What?
Yeah. There'll be some that boo him.
Yeah,
not all of them.
I think hopefully they got that out of their system. I feel like it's a little silly to boo him again. But
they're still gonna boo him because there's some idiots out there. You know what I mean?
Yeah, there's always going to be.
But I was thinking the difference between Trent and Cunha, who signed the deal so he doesn't leave for free and does a favor for the team, whereas
Cunha also there's a release clause
in the deal.
Yeah. So that's the difference.
But I think the issue is that I don't think Trent would have I don't think Madrid would have gotten Trent if they had to pay a big fee for him.
No, they don't like to. I don't get wrong. I know they paid for Bellingham and a couple, but they like to get players for free.
Yeah,
and so they can.
They were probably working on this deal with him for 2 years. Yeah, they were working on this deal for years.
Trying to tap that ass for 2 years.
I'm pretty sure with Jude going, they're probably played a big factor too.
They're best friends, man.
Yeah, they're really good friends.
Oh, all right.
You didn't know that?
I know I saw they were always hanging out, but I didn't know it was.
They're like best friends. Yeah.
Bring in Musiala too.
Mm-hmm. I don't think he'll leave Bayern Munich though. Musiala is such a player. I wish he played for England. Why did he choose Germany?
Sorry. Why?
Because there's too much competition in the middle of the park.
Yeah, I think it's probably better for him to be playing for Germany than it is for England.
Musiala would easily start for England.
You think that?
He would start on the left. He could probably start on the left. But...
He's a baller, man.
He's so good.
So quick on his feet. Yeah.
So the Harvey Elliott thing, I think to Tico's point, I think there's definitely a really real chance that happens, that they start their strongest 11 and then they sub players in and out. But there's also a chance that they don't start everyone, but they like bring everyone in at some point. So it's definitely a possibility. Yeah. But I think either way, I think you're kind of right in the sense that like you're probably if you do start, you're probably not getting 90 minutes out of them.
Yeah, and I think, obviously with the last game, you have the benefit all the games started at the right time. So if you see he's playing, obviously it's someone you want to slot into your starting 11.
Yeah, that's a good shout. Yeah. Okay, next it's a triple. It's a Miles Lewis-Skelly, Calafiori, Kiwior. I think it's just game against Southampton means I'm likely starting any of those guys.
Yep.
Preferably Calafiori or Kiwior for the clean sheet bonus potential over Lewis-Skelly because he's classified as a mid. I think that's pretty straightforward.
You think that changes to the defender next season?
Maybe.
Has to,
right? Yeah, I wonder.
He didn't play in the midfield at all.
Yeah, I wonder what it should. But I think like O'Reilly's probably the same thing. But we'll see if that actually happens for City.
Yeah.
Another one. This one I don't feel great about. Mason Mount, mid 41%. It's just because he's been on a good run where he's actually looked kind of decent playing in that 10 slot. He's been playing a lot of games.
This one I understand, Keith. But still, it doesn't feel good.
It doesn't feel good. And I also think, like, for the same reason that you like want to start your Brighton players against United, like I'd be hesitant to start United players.
So, question: Amorim, if he starts the season as bad as he's finished this one, how long do you think he's got?
3 months. I don't think he makes January if he starts.
You think they just give him one transfer window?
Bro, the ownership of this club is fucking horrendous.
I think that you could be like, if there was some signs of progress, but if they start and they're languishing in the bottom half of the table by like January, right. I think he might be out.
So that's us thinking like Man United. Now, personally, if he starts off bad and he's just invested in several players, how much time do you think they should give him? I think they should give him a whole season.
I mean, give him a year.
What happens? I mean, what happens if there's a couple teams that are slightly better than the relegation teams this year, and all of a sudden they're actually in a legitimate relegation spot?
If they get in the relegation
right now, their numbers right now are good enough to have been relegated, or bad enough to have been relegated in several different years.
Yeah, I know. But this is what I'm saying. So if it does happen and they get into a relegation battle, you know who they bring in? Big Sam.
Big Sam. Oh my God. That'd be so funny.
Imagine him at Man United.
You know what he'd do, right? He'd put Harry Maguire up top and just be lobbing. He'd have Bruno Fernandes just shotgunning balls to him.
Keith, if it gets as bad as you say, like danger of relegation, then obviously that's a different story. You know, they have to like make a change.
But if they're sitting in 12th halfway through the season, it's still better than they did last season.
But you can't just base it off the results. It's the way they look.
They've looked horrible.
No, I'm saying for next year, if they look, if they're competing and the team's scoring goals, then if there's improvement, then you give them longer grace period. They show longer.
We are result based. This is teams like owners look at results. I get you. I'd love Tottenham to have beautiful football, but we played ugly football with Mourinho and Conte and finished higher than we are now.
At some point, you gotta use the tools you have in front of you and make something of it. And like at some point, you just got to understand that like no matter what your system is or what your philosophy is, like you can't just like stick to that at the sake of like losing for a club that's worth billions of dollars. You know?
But they also spend, what was it, 90-something million on one of the worst strikers, statistically speaking, ever.
Is that how much Højlund cost?
Wasn't it like 90?
It was like 70.
No, he was like 70 something. Anthony was like 80 million.
Oh my God, you guys! I forgot. Look what I got.
Oh shit!
82 million for Højlund. Anthony was wasn't over 90.
Speaking of Anthony.
Sure. Oh wow!
And you got Anthony auto rookie graded 10. Gem mint 10.
What?
What do you think?
I like it.
It's like, I literally got it as like a meme, but it's also just kind of funny.
How much you looking there? $20? $20
a little more,
$20?
a little north of that, but not much more. But yeah, I was happy. I mean, it's just kind of funny. It's like it's like a bit of a laugh.
How'd you get that?
Some guy was selling it on Reddit.
Oh, nice.
95 million euros for Anthony.
Dude.
Who might this year...
Amazing.
He might be because he qualifies to win the Europa with United and also the conference with. So if both of those teams wins, he'll be a 2-time European champion.
Fuck, I didn't know that. That's crazy.
Well, yeah. He won't get a trophy for United's Europa because he didn't.
He played enough games.
No, he played enough games. He qualifies for because the group stage. Well, not the group stage. The first couple of rounds he played.
That's fucked up. Well, also,
where do you think he goes next year? He stays in Spain.
He stays in Spain.
I mean, how can you go back to England?
Oh, they have an option to buy him. I'm sure they do. Most loans have the option to buy.
So it's not that he's scoring goals. Are you guys seeing his?
No, they're like bangers. They're like banger goals.
Well, have you watched any of the games and how he's actually playing? He's not playing like an idiot.
He looks really good.
He looks fucking really good. He looks like a football player.
I'm just waiting for him to do the spin move.
He hasn't. I haven't seen him do it. When I watch him.
He hasn't done that.
You could goof around in a Farmers League like EPL, but when you're La Liga, you can't be getting away with stuff like that.
Stupid.
Yeah, you are stupid.
Last name on waivers before we get wildly sidetracked. This is kind of one. He's 65% owned, so it's a little bit off the beaten path. But Reece James, he looked really good in the last game. It might be my Chelsea bias, but I think
it might be.
He might be a sneaky pickup for the last game of the season when they really need something. He's stepped up. So
I'm drafting him next year.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think.
What was that?
I just feel like he's just so disappointing.
It's hard to draft him,
but it seems pretty clear when he's healthy and playing, he's pretty darn good for fantasy.
If he stayed fit and he didn't have the injuries or had less injuries, how good is Reece James?
Yeah,
he's so good.
Would be a headache for England.
For his body.
No, he would have played. I think him and Walker would have rotated, especially in the World Cups and the Europeans. They would have rotated.
Yeah.
I'd take Reece James over Walker.
I would take Reece James over Walker.
Yeah,
what about Reece James over Trent?
Oh, that's different.
Different position almost, right?
Yeah, different style.
Trent, different style.
Don't get me wrong, they both can open the door, but Trent can do it from anywhere on the pitch. Reece James has to dribble and then get to the byline to get it to
him. He can deliver. He has a pretty good delivery.
He's not the same as. He's not the same.
It's not the same, but the difference between their deliveries is not as significant as the difference between them playing defense.
I don't see Reece James using his left foot, though. Trent uses his left.
Trent scored one left-footed goal in his whole career.
I'm talking about he uses his feet to pass too, brother. Not just a shoot.
I think I saw a stat where Trent had the highest statistic on corners reaching the target. Which is pretty crazy.
Yeah, that's good. I think what it comes down to is defensive stability, right? And that's where Trent's always been let down. And Reece James is actually known as a pretty good defender.
Yeah, he's pretty good.
Yeah, so I think that's where you can make the argument that something there. Trent's more of a threat. I agree with that.
Mm-hmm.
More creative. I agree with that. But I think just as a whole player, so it really depends on the team. Like if you're at a Real Madrid, you'd obviously take a Trent, right?
Yeah,
always.
Yeah.
Reece James, we tried to get him a while back.
Is Carvajal going to be gone?
Probably stays, right?
I think he stays.
Plays do you think he'll be happy to play second fiddle to Trent?
I don't think he's got a fucking choice.
I mean, what is he, 32, 33? And with a lot of mileage on those legs coming off in the ACL. But if it's going to be 3 in the back, you could maybe play both of them.
Yeah.
Carvalho could be one of the 3 defenders in the back.
That's what I was thinking too. Yeah, I agree with you.
Guys, what are the chances that Savio starts tomorrow?
Fucking 50-50. What about Doku? 50-50.
50-50.
What about Grealish? 20-80.
Savio and Doku both started mid at that game, the Palace game where they lost. I think it's lower. What do you?
Fuck, I don't know, man.
Did you guys see what Pep said about the penalty? He said, "I'm not sure why Marmoush took it instead of Haaland."
Yeah,
I don't know why either. That seems
I don't know
ridiculous.
why either. What do you think?
Silly.
Do you think Grealish goes back to Villa?
No, I don't think Villa would want him. No.
If they don't get friggin' Rashford or Asensio, why wouldn't they?
I just feel like that. I don't know if he's an Unai Emery type of player.
You mean it'll be old? I feel like old Grealish is.
I don't know. I don't think he does. I don't know.
Do you guys think Grealish is at a stage of his career where he wants to actually work hard and try his best practice?
I think he wants to play football.
I think he wants to play football.
But
But when push comes to shove, I know you mean Tico. Like, does he really? How badly does he want to play football? Like he's collecting a pretty big paycheck just to chill.
There's a saying in NFL where you pay us Monday through Saturday, and Sunday we will play for free. That's how it is. Obviously, they enjoy playing, but what you have to do to get to that stage. Yeah. So I don't like his history of partying, all of that. I don't think he's serious about football anymore. He's like Conor McGregor.
Well, I also think and you kind of got to cut some slack to some of these guys. Like they've literally been doing this 50, 60 hours a week since they were like 11, or even
and he's won everything.
Yeah, he's won everything. So
is it going to go back to England?
No, what's his motivation? I agree with you because like, what's his motivation? Yeah. Like, what's really motivating to be better?
Would it be just to play football? Like, I think I get what you guys are saying. I really do, but I know that this is still business, and players, especially nowadays, going away for free and winding down their contract, etc., etc. But what it comes down to is if you're still passionate about it and you love playing football, wouldn't you want to just play like you just when we were talking about Diblin? I know it's a completely different player, but would you rather play in the Premiership and play second fiddle, or would you go down to the Championship and play week in, week out?
You know what this is making me think of is, did you guys ever watch Silicon Valley?
Yes.
No.
So it's a great show. It's a great show. There's a scene where the big company like Hulu or whatever, which is supposed to be like Facebook or something.
Mm-hmm.
They headhunt this guy that they think is like one of the geniuses behind this like startup, but he ends up just being a big idiot. This guy, Big Head. And once they pay him a ton of money, they give him like a really big title and stuff. And once they realize that he's like kind of a big dumb idiot, they don't fire him. They do this thing where they just they don't assign him any work, and they just send him to the roof to hang out on the roof every day, and hoping that he'll like eventually be like shamed into quitting. But he's just like, this is great. I just like go up here and chill. And and I feel like, and they're talking about how it's based off some Japanese practice where you pretty much just like you remove all work from someone, and then that forces them to like realize that they're no longer valuable and they resign or whatever. But for some people, they're just like, fuck it, like this is great. I'm getting paid.
When you say some people, you mean America.
Yeah, whatever.
Yeah.
But I kind of feel like Pep does that. Where he just doesn't include anyone, but he doesn't force him out the door. But like secretly, I feel like Pep does hope that Grealish leaves.
He's like, I'm making you make a decision right now.
Yeah, and because like Pep, their whole thing is like City's whole thing is like we'll never keep a player that wants to leave. You know, they always say that about players.
They always say that.
But so then like if they're not playing you, and then they're also saying that, it's like kind of like.
Well, he has 2 years on this contract and is getting paid $15 million.
Yeah, that's what I mean. Like
600,000 a year.
I'm not okay. To me, the breaking point, and like let's say you're the most optimistic person ever. The breaking point would have been in the FA Cup final. They're down a goal with like 10, 15 minutes left, and Pep decides instead of bringing on like a Grealish, they bring on like some like 19-year-old kid for his debut, some like kid from River Plate that's never played for the first team.
The striker, right?
Forward? He's like an attacking mid.
Yeah.
But like to bring him on as opposed to when you literally have like Champions League winners, you have England internationals on the bench, and you're just like, yeah, I'll bring on this kid instead of you, Jack Grealish.
You know who did that really well too? Gareth Bale.
But I think the difference with Gareth Bale, like actually, I respect Gareth Bale because like he was injured a lot, and then the Real Madrid like does the thing where they're trying to force him out because that's what Real Madrid does. No offense, Tico, but like Real Madrid's kind of like comes dickish when like a player is no longer like valued. They're pretty much like get out of the club. Like and like the fans get really nasty. It's like it's common. Like you're not disagreeing with that, right?
Absolutely not. Look at what they did to Iker Casillas, who's one of the club legends.
So I think with Gareth Bale, it's like he was getting paid so much money, and they're trying to get him to go somewhere else and take less money. And he was like at that stage that we're talking about, where he's like 31. He's like, fuck you. Like I'm gonna stay here and I'm gonna collect my check. And I will happily play for you if you want me to, but I'm not gonna take less money because you guys hate me.
Also, the difference for Gareth Bale is besides the injuries, everything when he was on the field, he was playing. He wasn't out of shape. He was fit. Mm-hmm. He came on the Champions League and he got man of the match. Yeah. With that bicycle kick.
Yeah, exactly.
Different.
So I think it's different, but I'm just saying Gareth Bale for me is like I have nothing but respect for
I love Gareth Bale.
Yeah.
Wales, golf, Madrid in that order.
Yeah. Such a trope. But going back to Grealish so I think what's probably going to happen is going to be loaned out. And correct me if I'm wrong. So when you loan out a player, the team that owns them, they have to pay part of the salary, and
not always. It really depends, but yes,
on the negotiation part of it, right?
Yeah.
And who has the deepest pockets? City. What if he goes to Wrexham?
What's wrong with you, bro? That's wrong. I don't see it. At least I say things are believable.
You could party as much as you want. You're still going to be better than 99% of the players on the field.
You know, I heard might be going to Wrexham. And I can't wait. I hope it's true.
And Cuckoo?
Ben Davies. Fuck off.
Really?
And Cuckoo's actually getting a lot of interest from some Premier League clubs, which I'm really surprised by. I thought he for sure had to leave the Premier League. You're making a face, but that's true.
No. I heard my Google Home say something that I was like, well, that's weird.
You should go check your living room right now, bro. If you don't come back, we'll call 911.
Wait, one last thing on Grealish before we wrap up. We've been literally talking about this for way too long, but there's rumors that he could be leaving City on loan this summer, with Newcastle United among the clubs reporting interested. That makes sense to me.
But he's got to go against Gordon and Barnes on the left.
He can play in the 10.
So he's going to... Dude, that midfield was too good. Who's he going to take? Bruno? Joe Linton? Who's the other one in the middle? Tonali?
He would be the most attacking player option from all of
another
those.
option.
Yeah, but that's not how they play.
But they also, I don't know. I'm just saying that's one. However, Napoli has also been linked with a loan move potentially feasible. Grealish is high salary is this significant obstacle.
He's going to go there for a year, get fucked up on wine, and come back.
Just wine?
I think the issue is that City. That's also noting that City is reportedly reluctant to sanction a loan move. Like they don't really want to loan him. They either want to sell him.
You know who'll pick him up in the Premier League? Chelsea, bro. Let's be honest here.
He's a little old.
I just Googled Jack Grealish transfer, and the first thing that comes from goal.com is Pep Guardiola doesn't like him, and that's an actual quote. Someone quoted him, and he told Grealish he has to leave Man City.
Okay, yeah.
I think that's BS.
I think that's BS. I got a quote too.
The headline.
You know what I mean?
All right. Should I end the episode? We can keep just chatting for a minute.
Yeah. Dude, and don't forget. Come on. Was it?
Okay. This has been episode 89 of Draft Offsides. My name is Keith. I'm with Kiko and Enzo. Follow us on the socials at Draft Offsides, and we'll see you next week for our wrap-up episode, because it'll be the end of the season, and we will start having to think about next year and how we're going to take Tico down.
You know what I'd like to hear? If you guys got any recommendations of what you'd like to hear, whether it be drafts, whether it be waivers, whether it be ghost picks, ghost point picks, that'd be interesting.